This is the technical difficulties for playing Citation Needed. Joining me today, he reads books, it's Chris Joel.
I am Kermit the Frog, and tonight, Matthew, I am going to be that little flat guy from Frogger.
Everybody's favourite Gary Brannan.
Covered in resin and brimming with juicy seeds.
And the bountiest man on the internet, Matt Gray.
Hello, YouTube Studio One.
Hey! In front of me, I have an article from Wikipedia, and these folks can't see it. Every fact they get right is a point and a ding.
I was too quick on the ding there,
Yes,
sorry.
that was I.
You're always too quick on the ding, Gary. And there's a special prize for particularly good answers, which is...
Oh, yeah.
I just conducted that in waltz time.
Today, we are talking about Benjamin Rush.
Huh. Is that what happens when the shop of Benjamin's opened on Black Friday?
Yes, there's a Benjamin Rush.
Yeah.
Straight in.
Is it street slang for a drug? I've got to get my Benjamin Rush on.
People go around licking wax mannequins of Ben Franklin. This is why I'm banned from Madame Tussauds now, obviously.
Oh, Maggie. Oh, Maggie.
You are surprisingly close with Benjamin Franklin, though.
Was he a friend of his?
I'll give you a point. He was a founding father of the United States.
Oh, okay, that shows poor history on my part.
Well, to be fair, there were a lot of founding fathers.
I thought you were going to say there was a lot of Benjamins.
Both.
Franklin, yeah.
Oh, that's two, Tom.
That's
Counting
two.
two and saying yes doesn't really make my point.
So this is America, and it's ancient history of America. So I'm going to go 1920s.
And the wheel spins and lands on America.
Take that, the colonies!
Benjamin Rush, founding father of the United States.
Yeah, and if this isn't the most interesting thing on that man's bio...
It is definitely not the most interesting thing on this man's bio.
Was he in the band Rush?
A, no, they're much later, and B, no, they're Canadian. Benjamin Rush was a physician.
Was he an utter quack and a charlatan?
He was surprisingly forward-thinking for his time.
Amputations.
Didn't necessarily do them. That'd be forward thinking.
He was Surgeon General
Okay.
in the Continental Army.
Oh, in an army. Okay, fine.
Yes. You went with a Saki salute there, but yeah.
You were right, you gave them on the due respect, yeah.
Due respect is what you give wet grass on a morning.
I wondered where you were going with that. Oh my God.
First groan of the day.
So, Surgeon General and innovative. I can't get away from operations if it's during the war.
There were some interesting prescriptions given by this man.
Okay, laudanum.
Why?
Painkiller.
Really?
Yes.
That
I don't fucking know, but you believed it. He's like, well, I believe you. Some kind of painkiller or something like that, or antiseptic.
he gave supplies to a very famous expedition after the Revolution. Now, I know your American history is not great.
I know bugger all about America.
Do the words Lewis and Clark mean anything to you?
Yeah,
Isn't
the
that-
Superman.
That was Lois and Clark, and that's actually why they called it that.
Really?
King out.
Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, was a Lewis and Clark pun.
So was this an expedition to Krypton?
It was certainly an expedition to somewhere.
Was it a Westwood one?
Yes, it was.
Westwood!
Not Westwood.
Two Americans set off and discover South London.
It was a westward expedition. What were they hoping to find?
The Pacific.
Yes, absolutely right. Yes. The Lewis and Clark expedition was trying to find, and successfully found, a route through to the Pacific through American territories.
Pimp my horse and cart.
It's not the Westwood expedition. And that's just the horse.
Yeah, if it does that, don't get behind it. Wait until he stands up again.
A wicked horse.
Who here actually knows who Tim Westwood is?
You
Okay,
underestimate
good.
them.
For about half the
West
audience,
Side.
that's just lost. That expedition obviously had a lot of supplies to get through all the way for months and months to the Pacific, and their doctor was Benjamin Rush, or at least their initial man who gave them the supplies. What sort of thing do you give for a months-long expedition through the wilderness in 1803?
Opiates.
Absolutely spot on.
I was going to say Imodium.
Now, we'll get back to you on there in a minute. But I just want to point out that yes, Turkish opium, apparently.
Turkish?
Not opiates, Turkish opium. What was that for?
Making sure you have a lovely time, darling.
Oh, you know what, I'm going to give you a point. Nervousness.
What, to incite it? I don't think we're panicking enough about when we're going to get there. Hand me the opium.
Why aren't all expeditions done on opiates? Strong opiates. Ranulph Fiennes off his tits at the North Pole. I'd gladly watch that.
Have you read any Hunter S. Thompson?
The International Space Station.
To Mars on smack.
Do they have a different, they rate their expedition by which drugs they're using?
This feels more like an LSD trip to me, but I don't know.
Only manage one orbit, then lose interest.
Turkish opium, absolutely right. You mentioned a fairly obvious joke here for something you'd give for an
Imodium.
Yes.
Did they have problems of the bum?
Their meat-rich diet and lack of clean water gave them cause to use...
Cork and a rubber mallet.
It's the phrase rubber mallet that got me.
Well, you're not getting far enough on your own.
And you don't want to use
round, you need the leverage.
You don't want to use wood, you want that sort of soft return on it, I would imagine.
And you're not going to use Timmy mallet either, so...
That's one for the 80s kids in the studio.
I thought that was the noise if you forgot to put the cork in.
They weren't called Imodium. They were called... it was 50...
Ye Imodium.
50 dozen of Dr. Rush's bilious pills.
I'd still take those now. They sound reassuringly competent.
I'm off for a bilious.
They also had a sort of a weatherish name, something that might cause a rumbling.
A thunder plunderer.
I'll give you the point. They were thunderclappers.
I'm going to call them all that now anyway. A brace of thunderclappers, no less.
What did those contain?
Because it won't be Senna then or anything like that.
No, bear in mind...
what bungs you up?
John...
There's a lady I used to know every
wasn't
London.
necessarily designed to bung you up. Rush believed, as you would at the time, in certain theories of medicine. What might
Purging and things like that.
Oh, yes. Humours.
Yeah.
Yes,
no,
have a
not
point.
humours. Surely not humours.
Little bit late for humours, but it was certainly bleeding or anything like
So
that.
bleeding and
leeches. Stick a leech on your arse and you get a colostomy back.
Oh, the poor leech.
I'm gonna 2 leeches in a pond. One goes on the king's wound. The other one is going to be stuck up your bum as a colostomy leech.
We've started plumbing depths very quickly here, I'll be honest.
It's like the human centipede, but a leech.
No.
Sorry.
It does say here, even in Russia's day and location, many physicians had abandoned on scientific grounds that remedy. Rush just kind of kept going. He believed in something called heroic medicine. Does anyone want to?
I don't know where this is going.
Anyone want to tell me what that is?
I don't want any kind of doctor with that kind of heroic mindset, thank you very much. That, might kick my door in and slam a leech down my throat and go, "You are saved," and then leave,
Flash heart as your doctor.
I've got a syringe, and it's as hot as my pants.
Is it basically when the time comes, you basically say, I'm going outside now, I may be some time, and then just find a tree?
Is this Greek influenced, as in hero in Greek mythology or something like that, right?
Absolutely right. Essentially, purging, vomiting, sweating, and blistering. So,
Saturday night out, really?
Given all that, what would you put in Dr. Rush's bilious thunderclappers?
Anything to do all those at once. And by God, would you thunderclap while that happened?
This is not something you even want to touch these days.
Was it poison?
To
force it out quicker?
Yes, I'll give you the point, but it's a
Mercury.
Not only that, absolutely spot on. They were 50% mercury pills.
Whoa.
What was the other 50?
Pill. You okay there, Gareth?
Such a Actually, the correct answer would probably have been, if we weren't being knobs about this, chalk or something like that, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Yeah. But nothing that's going to kill you.
But
chalk will bung you up more.
Not if you combine it with mercury. It won't.
You're right, yeah. Because chalk in flour was a thing, and that would bung you up horribly, yeah.
There was an interesting side effect for archaeologists, much. Other than...
Shining bits. I didn't know.
A shining trail of breadcrumbs.
Oh, no.
Because mercury's silver and shiny, isn't it?
Is it horrifically dangerous to do archaeological excavations on burial sites from these people where they died along the way, because their bodies and skeletons are going to be full of quicksilver and mercury? If you touch it with bare hands, it'll seep into your skin and also give you the heaving shits. As we archaeologists call it.
That's a man who looks through archives for a living there.
It's true. There's certain things I have to be careful with. If anything has been Black Death, Yersinia pestis is very, very contagious. If you discover a Black Death burial site, you have to immediately run away lest you get ill, because a lot of people got buried in lead coffins. And of course, lead, the body just corrodes in it and just turns into a bit of a sludge, but the disease persists within, and it is very persistent, hence why it kills a quarter of the population if it gets out. So there are certain plague burials where you just run a mile if you think it's Black Death. So that could happen with a quicksilver-imbued skeleton. Not so stupid now!
So I like the idea that you run a mile, thus spreading Black Death for a mile.
How do you think it worked in the first place?
They were able to trace the expedition a century or more later by the trail of mercury they left behind.
By their midden.
Mercury breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
What other reforms did he try and bring through?
Mobile phone.
Yes, it's a telegraph that you have to wire up as you go behind you. And
That's pretty much how they laid telegraphs.
Yes.
fair.
Did he introduce hungry hippos?
To medicine? What's the function of hungry hippos in medicine?
He who winneth the most pills liveth the longest.
Whoa, competitive. Wow. So what you're saying is that the modern American medical system is entirely based on hungry
hippos. Yes, it
hippos.
is,
He who has the most gets the best care.
Yeah, satire.
Was he against lobotomies?
It's not actually medical reform.
Oh, so it could have been
Because bear in
hungry
mind, he was a founding
Founding father
father.
as well.
He was also a politician and so it says here educator, social reformer, and humanitarian.
Slavery.
Yes, he was anti-slavery.
But pro-mercury.
But pro-mercury. Yes, yes.
Didn't realise there was anyone anti-slavery that early.
Yeah,
Wilberforce.
they fought a civil war over it.
Did they?
One of the arguments one of the arguments of the American Revolution was, do we allow slavery?
It's like having a major royal sat next to me. Really?
Interesting.
There are actually some interesting headings here because we have anti-slavery and then capital punishment, which he was also against. They just haven't put the word anti in the title.
That's one hell of a relative.
Anti-capital punishment. Morning!
Yeah, along with Uncle Pillory and Cousin Swift kicking the bollocks.
These things work on a kind of bilateral thing. So either massively for or massively against.
Place your bets now.
Okay.
Going full
Well, he's been-
Anti-slavery, anti-capital punishment,
Got to be
pro-purging. So I'm going to go...
Not in like the movie of the Purge sense, just to be clear here, because you brought that in from nowhere.
pro-purgatives. I'm going to say he was pro-ladies. Hey! Flick a coin!
He was instrumental to the founding of the Young Ladies Academy of Philadelphia.
Phillies in Philly.
Yes, he proposed I mean, don't get me wrong, that's genius. The first chartered women's institution of higher education in Philadelphia. What did he think women should be trained in?
Kung Fu.
Not exactly.
Driving a steam engine. Building wardrobes.
That thing where you balance a golf ball on the end of the golf club, then you hoy it up and then hit it.
Yeah. Scuba diving. We can go all day.
Precision cake throwing.
Slightly closer.
Those John Virgo trick shots where you get a snooker ball to go into a little wine cooler thing.
That bit from Full Metal Jacket where he's obsessively stripping the rifle and chanting to himself.
Shoot as many.
Is it something like etiquette for the ladies?
Not quite that far.
Good housekeeping.
No, it wasn't
Armed
quite
combat.
Okay.
Started there.
Here's a line. Here's armed combat. Here's etiquette. About here.
Oh, nice combat.
Unarmed
Terribly
combat.
sorry.
Witty repartee. Biting and scathing comebacks, but politely. So the fella doesn't notice it's happened. He just about 2 days later wakes up in the middle of the night with a growing sense of ennui and realises he missed his chance forever. Sorry, got autobiographical there. Back in the room.
Coquettish waving of fans to avoid embarrassment.
Moral essays, poetry, and religious writings, and history, which presumably you didn't. That was somewhere else.
He's not a lady.
What did he think?
I don't know if it's escaped your notice, but
What did he think women shouldn't be pushed towards?
Kung Fu, precision catering,
Cliff edges.
Who's he?
Rough, uncouth types.
I hope.
Mathematics, logic, advanced science. He
Ladies
thought
of the room, how many of you would not qualify?
Benjamin Rush is the father
Of his children.
of American something.
Baseball.
A discipline in medicine, I guess.
Anesthesia.
Bowel cleavage.
No, it's nothing really to do with the body as such.
So a medical process that's not to do with the body.
Is it like blind testing or something like that? Actual research,
No.
research rather than just poking.
I mean, it is to do with a bit of the body, but you would say this was not a physical thing to fix these days. This would be something else.
Psychiatry, mental health, something like that.
Yes, absolutely right.
Oh.
Spot on with the word. The father of American psychiatry. What did he think was a good way to cure insanity? That's the phrasing they've used here.
Electroshock treatment.
No, too early for that.
Yeah.
Much too early for that. Like, I don't think at this point Benjamin Franklin had been shocked by his kite yet.
Look at the size of this kite. I'm going to go flying in the rain right now while holding a brass key.
A good hard slap to the face. Sort yourself out, man.
Remember what he already believed in.
Mercury?
It was called calomel. If anyone knows what that is. Which
That's
is
dangerously close to caramel in a makeup in a hilarious mix-up in a chocolate factory, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's mercurous chloride. So like, don't eat Cadbury's calomel because how did he convince his patients who were suffering from, and again I'm using the word here, insanity, to eat mercury?
Wrap it in ham.
Wrap it in ham.
You're close.
Wrap it in cheese.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the point. Sprinkling a few grains of mercury daily on a piece of bread and then spreading a thin covering of butter over it. He believed that mental illnesses were caused by disruptions of blood circulation. So how might you get some more blood to the brain?
Did he throw people in cold water or something like that to increase circulation?
That would be slightly more sensible than what
Hang
we've
them
got
upside down?
Yeah, sleep them like a bat.
Oil-powered warming hat.
Here. You're
Sleep them like a bat.
let that go by. I'm going to give you a point. It was a sensory deprivation head enclosure. That was one.
No.
So a tin hat with no eye holes.
Yeah, but there was.
You're saying he invented the bucket and the process of placing it on someone?
He also had a more physical way of getting blood to the brain.
Is it like when you've got an ice pop and you've got the juice at the bottom and you want it to the top, so you sort of have to go with like the leg, and it's just forcing the blood up through the body?
Okay, I'm not going to give you a point, but you are right. It was a
Moving
way.
tourniquet is probably an easier way of describing that.
Not quite. It was a way
Static tourniquet.
to force blood up to the head.
Is it like that machine at the end of The Princess Bride, where you put suction cups on it and it's water-powered? But instead of sucking life, it just pulls the blood through you.
I'm going to give you the point. It's
vacuum.
It's not a vacuum, or it's not anything like that, but it is a spinning machine.
Oh my
Human
God.
centrifuge someone to and spin them round like that, and that was how he thought you cured mental illnesses.
Please.
Did it work?
No.
This strikes me as medicine in the form of a shooting stars endgame.
Yes, he actually had a thing called the moral thermometer.
And he was way off it.
The more blood you have in your brain, the better off you would be.
So is this like one of those love testers you get in bars? You put your hands on it, it's warm hand, but cold hands. Moral turpitude! He must be hung!
I was against the death penalty, so there wasn't. He must be roundly shunned.
And put in a bucket.
At the end of the show, congratulations, Gary. You win this week.
Hey!
You win. You win
yourselves.
an express trip to see the buttock cleavage of one of Tenacious D. Yep, it is. It's Jack Black's fast track ass crack. So do enjoy that with that. We'd say thank you to Chris Joel. Hi then. To Gary Brannan. To Matt Gray. I've been Tom Scott. We'll see you next time. Thank you, folks.
That was great.